If AI feels important, but also confusing, overwhelming, or like one more thing you need to figure out, you are not alone. A lot of people know they probably should be learning how to use AI, but they feel behind, intimidated, or unsure where to even begin. In this conversation, I sit down with Callan Faulkner, the founder of the Uncommon Business, and we break down a more human and practical way to think about AI, especially if you want to work smarter, reduce overwhelm, and actually use these tools in a way that supports your life and leadership instead of adding more noise. And we talk about how to use AI in a way that supports your thinking, protects your voice, and helps you stay deeply human while still working smarter. So here's my conversation with Callan Faulkner. Let's get into it.
I know.
This is going to be such a good conversation, especially for a lot of women that I work with and what they are
Mhm.
thinking and feeling around AI. So I can't wait for them to hear from you because they're so tired of me like being like, let's go. When are you going
It's
to get a paid,
okay.
when are you going to
Do
get a
it.
paid pod project? Come on, get on board, right? Let's kick this off because I know you have my notes in your
Yeah.
calendar invite, but I really want this to obviously just flow like a great conversation, two buds sitting
Of
down
course.
and jamming. It was exactly a year ago I discovered you. And even before I heard about your masterclass, I heard you on an elite coaching call with Dan Martell, heard a little bit of your story. And then I'm sitting in my parents' house and here in Nebraska a year ago, helping my mom through one of her first surgeries.
Mhm.
And she listened to the masterclass with me. And
Wow.
she said, whatever she's doing, like sign up. And
Mom,
I know.
freaking A, mom. I love it.
Isn't that
Oh my
awesome?
God.
And so here we are about exactly a year later, and I've been through, your programs, and we're going to talk more about those here today too, in the context of all of your goodness. But, at that time, I was really kind of building my business in the margins of my life. And when AI came into my life, at first I was hesitant, like a lot of people are.
Yeah,
And now I'm like, I don't know how my life would be without it.
I know.
And I think the thing that has helped me the most is it's made me a better coach. Even if I don't coach them around AI, it's
Yeah.
helped me listen to things around their business and their leadership that has been transformative, not only for them, but also for my work. But I've obviously watched you scale your business to $4.2 million dollars with, at the time, a 5-person team. Now
Yeah.
you have a couple more and then
Yeah.
a ton of AI employees. So I want to dive into that and what that's all about for you now. But before we do that, I would love to just take a step back and have you tell me who Callan is today, the woman in the business navigating this extraordinary growth and what life is like for you right now, a little bit of your story to kick things off.
Well, first of all, thank you so much to your mom. What is her name?
D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Dee. Thank you so much for believing in me and for trusting me with your daughter. My story is really interesting. I've been doing a lot of reflecting on it now that I'm, really having this social presence and really building my personal brand. My career has really been spent in technology. I graduated from school, but I was not a technology person. I was a business entrepreneurship major. I also loved psychology. That was my minor. I was a college athlete, very probably similar
Yeah.
backgrounds.
Yeah.
And I loved business, love it, loved sales. Both my parents were sales reps. So I went into sales for tech companies. So I wasn't
Okay.
ever doing the tech, but what I was doing is always on the front side watching people work. I would watch people work inside of Fortune 5,000 companies and I would see how deeply manual and soul crushing people's work was.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, I was in the sales role in my early 20s, and they had me in the back office doing manual soul crushing work, filling out these long proposal documents and answering request RFPs for local county governments. Absolute hellish work. My soul's purpose was to be out in the world, building relationships, networking, helping people navigate this world of efficiency and give them ideas and inspiration. But they had me in the back office doing these manual jobs, as we've probably all done at some point in our
Mhm.
career.
Mhm.
And so I did this Find Your Soul's Purpose course in 2018. And I found my notebook a few months ago and it said, My soul's purpose is to activate people to their highest potential and to get them out of the Excel docs and out of this typing proposal creation. I keep saying pivot tables because that was like my hell. And it all really came to a head in July of 2023 when I saw ChatGPT for the first time. And
Yeah.
my entire body just had full body goosebumps. And I was like, oh my God, if it can build an SOP, standard operating procedure document in 30 seconds, what else can it do? Because I was doing so much. I was running my own consulting business at the time. And I just started getting all these ideas. And I'm a very creative person. I've
Mhm.
always been a great communicator because of my sales background. And
Mhm.
so that was kind of this secret sauce when you start to get into AI. If you start to,
Yes.
you're a great communicator, you start telling it like, well, we're doing all this process manually. How could you help me with this? How could you help me with this? And then I started automating my whole business using AI. I was also like Zapier certified and doing all this. And people started asking me, what the actual blank are you doing? How did you just get rid of those roles that you were about to hire for? And then that led me to shut everything down in April of 2024. And I went
Mhm.
all in on teaching people a lot of non-technical, I say everyone from non-technical humans to AI bros. I
Yes.
mean, you run the gamut in our program.
Yeah.
Teaching
Amen.
them,
Yeah.
teaching
Amen.
them. It's really, really funny. It's everyone from you barely can share a Zoom screen to like already building Claude agents. And
Mhm.
I teach people how to actually use AI to scale their business, to get
Yes.
their life back, to get their time back, to get their mental bandwidth back.
Yes.
And it has been the greatest joy of my life. It is freaking the most fun ever, as you
It
know.
is.
It's been a
Yes, it
great.
is. It's personally transformative.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I love about you that really separates you from a lot of the other coaches that I read and see is this intuitive and energetic alignment that you bring
Mhm.
into your teaching and to your program. I can't wait for everyone in the boot camp and then your subsequent programs to experience it firsthand because you talk about why the high frequency human front end matters so much
Oh my
and
gosh,
how
yes.
you think about AI. So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit more about that because that's a differentiator and it's so special about you.
So, a little bit about our company. I run a
Yes.
business called The Uncommon
Yes.
Business,
Thank you.
and we do AI education. So, we train people. We've trained over 10,000 founders and leaders on how to build AI employees and AI operating systems.
Yeah.
What I know for sure, and I'm also a spiritual person. I went through a divorce a few years ago, and that really woke me up to frequency and
Mhm.
consciousness and nervous system and neurofeedback. And so I started studying laws of the universe and I started studying, okay, how do I manifested my dream partner,
Yeah.
Nicole. And even through that process, I started realizing there are powers at play here that AI does not have access to.
Right.
And one of those powers is intuition. And there was a interview recently with the CEO of Nvidia, a
Mhm.
large AI company, and he was asked, "Who's the smartest person that you know?" And he said, "That's a really interesting question because historically I would have said, my engineering, my director of engineering, or my neuroscientist that I communicate with, but no longer because AI can do a lot of that deep technical smart, so I'm going to put smart in a quotation mark work.
Mhm.
What AI cannot do is feel into your body and see around corners and
Mhm.
feel what's going to be happening next month, the month after that. What AI cannot do is walk into a boardroom, sense the tension in the room, and within 5 minutes diffuse it by saying the right thing and by finding the right person and taking them aside and having the right conversation.
Mhm.
I'm really doing a lot of work right now studying where does AI fit into the equation and where does the human fit into the equation? And what I know for sure is human connection is going to be 5x more valuable than it is right now,
Mhm.
3 to 5 years from now. So that's why I'm telling all of if you can create some sort of in person human connection experience as a part of your model, even if it's not a moneymaker,
Right.
even if you feel like you are breaking even on events or making a little bit of money on events, that human connection is so deeply important. It's the reason why I'm for the first time actually hiring a sales team. It's not even a sales team, it's an enrollment team for our upcoming launch because
Mhm.
I believe these conversations, you cannot replace it.
No.
Be having a conversation with a human being. And as long as there's human beings on the planet, humans will sell to humans.
Mhm.
And so we've been doing a lot of work going through my program. AI is kind of the Trojan horse of the program. And as you come through, you realize it's like, oh my God, the people that have a higher frequency, which is holding a higher emotion. If you live in the world of anxiety, angst,
Mhm.
shame is actually the lowest frequency. You're going to attract that into your life. So people
Mhm.
that come through our programs, if they can simultaneously be doing some of this frequency work, spiritual work, nervous system work, and put the AI on top of it, That is
Yes.
the unfair advantage.
Absolutely. It is. And I felt that's what I felt. And I am not even that advanced with what I'm doing with AI yet. I'm really refining my projects and doing
Yeah.
some things with co-work now, which is just amazing.
Oh my God. Yeah. Unbelievable. Well,
Yeah.
I do want to correct you. You
Yes.
think it's not advanced because you're in the top AI program in the world. So I would like to tell you, sorry to tell you, you are in the top 0.001% of the world. You're just seeing the top 0.0001%.
Well, that's such a great point because I forget that. And I'm so inspired and in awe of so many of, I call you guys AI wizards in there and
Totally.
what they do. And so I just love learning. And so if I feel that, can you imagine how many people outside of the programs like yours, especially yours, because yours is the best, feel, right? I think that's the thing I want to get to eventually here with my audience and my community, but even just the one-off conversations I'm having with some of the executive, especially women executives that I work with, there's a lot of fear around it just in terms of perception of does it minimize my authority and my
Mm.
leadership if I'm leveraging AI? That's something I hear a lot. If someone finds out I'm using AI for this, what
Well,
does
let's
that
talk about
mean? Yeah, let's dive
so
into that.
I like talking about real life examples. Every time
Yep.
we talk about a demo, it's real life.
Yep.
So let's talk about leadership inside of our company. There's many different things we do for leadership. One of the things we do for leadership is obviously we do our quarterly business reviews, we do our 90-day reviews. So let's talk about how we use AI to prepare for those sessions that
Hmm.
is allowing us to take this session from mildly effective to wildly effective.
Yes.
So I'll actually ask you, Dr. Jennifer, when we're sitting down to assess performance on a human being, what are
Mhm.
some of the data points that just throw it out there? What will be things that you would love to have access to at your fingertips that would allow for a more productive coaching session?
Well, I think in terms of how they operate under stress and pressure and doing a deep dive into their personality, their leadership strengths, and how those strengths flip to blind spots under pressure and under stress. And
Yes.
that's my sweet spot. That is what I help leaders untwine from and get
So
away
good.
from shaming themselves from it and understanding it.
So now let's imagine, Dr. Jennifer, you came into someone's organization and over those 90-day period, you had set up some data points. So maybe you're taking in some transcripts of some past calls. Maybe there have been some mini coaching sessions that have happened along the way. You're pulling that transcript out, you're analyzing it, you're seeing how well did that person respond to criticism? Were they defensive? Were there any elements of, and this is again, this is Dr. Jennifer's very specific framework that she's
Yeah.
built over the years. So she's kind of doing some scoring along the way. Maybe Dr. Jennifer has access to, of course, their job description and their KPIs. She's been given data. She's been given dashboards. She's been given their Colby test. What
Yeah.
testing do you like?
Yeah. I use the Hogan. I use Colby, depending on
So
what the organization uses too. You're right.
love it. Let's say
Hmm.
you're given access to the 3 personality tests they took. Maybe you're given access to even some of those first interviews that
Hmm.
they came and that they had in the organization. Now we're operating with data points that we never had access to. Past quarterly review, are you kidding me? Well, thanks so much for your work this quarter. It looks like you've sold, $200,000. Your quota was 150. Great.
Hmm.
No, that's the only data point you're looking at most likely, or you're rushing to put it together in 15 minutes and there's no way the human brain can comprehend the amount of data that we have access to.
Right.
So this is what I like to help people understand. There is a black hole of data and little points and little coaching elements of that you are not even using in
Hmm.
these quarterly business reviews.
Hmm.
And if you were, this is why, I think of some of the greatest coaches in the world. Let's say John Wooden. Like
Yes.
he was watching every effing move his players made. How did they hang their towels after they came back from the shower? How are they, in practice? Are they high-fiving their opponents? How are they communicating? How are they looking at people? We do not do that because we're not in person with our employees. We don't have that ability. So
Hmm.
AI is now giving us access to data we never had access to, giving us
Right.
access to pattern recognition we never had access to, and giving us the ability to coach people at a level that we've never, ever been able to, especially with a virtual organization.
And what's interesting about what you just said is I've been slowly introducing this process into my coaching practice because they've been encouraging them to record some of our conversations so
Yes.
that we can analyze them together and whatnot. Can feel like a scary thing sometimes. I think when the organization is behind the implementation and adoption of the AI, whatever it is, the one that they use, then that helps. But there's this training element that is missing in organizations. And I think that's what I would love people to hear around, like, what is the difference between AI usage versus AI architecture,
Mm.
and how you're thinking about AI to be able to lead your team through this integration of AI into your workplace as well. Because that's what I see internal at large organizations is that they're behind the adoption. So some people are using tools as shadow tools, and some are just not leading their team through the adoption very well. So how do we address that with?
So we just went from, as I was discussing some of that workflow,
Yeah.
there's architecture inside that, right? Like
Yes.
you have to train AI to look at conversations. And I
Yeah.
do want to touch on one thing you said before we move on to
Yes.
AI forward leadership. You mentioned it's scary to
Yeah.
have some of these things recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where the spiritual component comes in. And this
Yes.
is why it's so fun to do AI because I'm asking people, why are you scared?
Yeah.
The best athletes in the world, let's just talk about Usain Bolt. Do you
Yes.
think he was scared to be recorded and watched back
Mm.
over and over and over again?
No, he probably needed it.
He was watching himself. Tom Brady,
Mm-hmm.
after every game, would go back and watch his own performance over and over and over again because
Yeah.
he was obsessed with every foot move, every turn of his hand, every turn of his head, the way his shoulders roll back. It is the obsessive around the performance. And I'm not saying anyone needs to be a Tom Brady. I'm just saying we are looking to improve our career, right? We're looking to take this next step. We're looking to grow. We're looking to become a better leader. But if you are not willing to look at yourself in the mirror every single day and say, how could I have been a better partner to my spouse? How could
Mm.
I have been a better parent today? How could I have been a better leader today? That you are never going to leave the place that you are in if we are not looking at every little detail. And again, I'm personally looking at everything. And that's why I'm with a partner that is calling me out on every micro movement. I leave
Mm.
my wet towel on the bed. Guess who's telling me? Absolutely not. I'm not
Yeah.
picking that up for you. Or I say something a little bit, hey, she'll call me out and she'll say, you know what, probably shouldn't have said that. And I want to just give you a little coaching here. And I, of course, in the moment, I'm like, God. And then afterwards, I'm like, this is what I prayed for. I
Yes.
want this. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just calling out that fear of, there is no fear around criticism. In fact, it's the greatest gift.
Mm.
It's not criticism. It's kindness. It really is kindness. Kindness is
Yeah.
feedback. Creating that in your organization is crucial. So this actually leads me into how do we create an organization where every employee is excited and motivated to build out AI workflows and be experimenting. And, my greatest moments of my day are when I get slacks from my employees and they're like, built an AI employee that's now doing, 5 hours of my work every week. It took me about 4 hours to build it. Here's what it does. So why is that happening in my organization, but it's not happening in other organizations?
Yeah.
Couple components of this. Number one, it starts with me. I'm
Yeah.
the CEO. I'm the founder. You want your kids to start reading?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do as a parent?
Mm-hmm.
You read.
You read.
You
Yep.
read around them, you read to them, you read with them. On vacation, you read. Everyone's reading. Parent, mom and dad are reading. Mom and mom are reading. Guess what? Guess who's going to start reading? And maybe they don't for a little bit, whatever, but you're creating this habit of this is what we do. So
Yeah.
for me, we have about 144 AI employees as of today. It's
Wow.
April 6th.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about what an AI employee is in a second.
Yes.
I've created probably 40 of those myself because it starts with me. And I've never coded a day in my life. I'm not a technical person. You were on my call. They'll say, like, oh, the terminal was, I'm like, what is a terminal? I have no
Yeah.
idea what that is. I don't know what any of these things are. I really don't. And honestly, it's for the best. I don't need
Mm-hmm.
to know all that stuff. You do not need to be a technical person. You just need to believe that there's power there and just try it. It's like kids that don't want to eat,
Yeah.
they're like, I don't want to try it. I'm like, just try it, okay? You're probably
Yeah.
going to like it. And they're like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
this is really good. So, number one, it starts at the top. If the
Yeah.
founder and CEO is not building and trying and learning, it will never trickle down into the organization.
Right.
The second thing is my employees, my humans are so effing excited about these AI employees. Why? Because we talk about this a lot in our organization. There's a framework built by one of my mentors. His name is Myron Golden,
Yeah.
and it's called the Value Acceleration Framework. And he talks about the levels of human value. How do you increase your value as a human being in the world? Where the lowest level of value is implementation. It's
Yes.
doing the work. That is the lowest level of value. The person that is actually doing the typing, doing the pivot tables, AI can do that. AI can do a lot of that now.
Yeah.
It can
Yeah.
do a lot of the work. And that is where we're transitioning. The human's job is not to do the work, it's to build the systems and the workflows that do the work. Now, the second level is unification. That's communication, organization, managing things. AI is starting to creep up into that world. We have an AI employee that takes all of the tasks that come out of every leadership meeting and it automatically adds it into Notion with the owner, the due date, the description. We
Yeah.
definitely still have management layers, but AI is going to start creeping up and helping in that layer. Third layer is influence. That's what
Yeah.
I'm doing right now. That's what you're doing right now. We are communicating, we're creating change, we're activating people. That's where a lot of my time is spent, probably over 50% of my time. The highest and best use of a human's time is in the imagination level.
Yeah.
That is when the downloads are coming through from creator. It's mostly in the shower because that's the only time that we allow ourselves to not have technology and actually be like
Yes.
thinking. We're problem solving, we're doing critical thinking, we're using our intuition, we're feeling into our body. What do we think about this? What do we really believe about it? You know, if you have a spiritual practice, you're talking to creator, you're talking to your highest self, whatever that looks like. By building AI employees and AI workflows, we are now allowing our humans to jump up into that level of influence and imagination unlike we've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And if we think about when we were children, we had a lot of imagination. We were excited and we were thinking about all these things. Why? Because we weren't thinking about what's for dinner. We weren't
Yeah.
doing our meal planning. We
Yeah.
weren't, thinking about, oh God, I get my car detailed and I got to get the gift for my mom's birthday. No, we just had space and time.
Mm-hmm.
So starting at the top,
Yes.
this leader, you as leader, anyone that's listening to this, you have to show your employees the way. You have to show
Mm-hmm.
them, hey guys, I used to spend 3 hours doing this report every Monday morning and reviewing it. And now I built an AI employee that goes into my Instagram and Meta, pulls all of the reports from our ads every Monday morning. It shows us the top ads, it pulls the transcripts, it pulls the hooks. Then it looks at all of our competitors' top ads and it builds a report on what we should film this week and what kind of ads we should create, which ones
Wow.
we should turn down, which ones we should turn up. That's a 4-hour project.
Yes.
That's a little API into Meta. The API is just an integration. You literally go into Replit and you say, I have no idea how to do this.
Yeah.
I need to integrate to Instagram or something. Please help me. And it
Yes.
will give you every step of the way. This is not a technical project. It used to be a $100,000 project. Now it's 4 hours. And
Right.
so that monologue is to say, we have to show our employees the way, and then
Yes.
we also have to incentivize them. So my employees know to get their bonuses, to get their incentives, to be promoted in my organization, you have to automate 70% of your role every 12 months.
Mm.
And that is how you get promotions here, which is
Yeah.
very backwards. But
Yes.
here it's incentivizing them. And again, it
Yes.
starts with me. And if I'm
Yes.
not doing it in my role, they're never going to do it in their role.
I just got chills a little bit there because what I want more, especially women, to understand is that if leveraging AI in the right way is going to actually protect your brain health
Yes.
versus be a detriment to it if you're using it the right way. And that
Yeah.
is something, especially as women in midlife going through perimenopause, where our memory is already struggling with different hormonal changes, that they want to still prove to themselves that they can do this certain type of work. And the reality is, what elevates your cognitive capacity is actually that neural activity that you're talking about activating with the influence, with the imagination, with awe, getting out of your office and walking without a phone
Yeah.
actually is better for your brain health than making sure you're doing this menial task, right?
100%.
And
100%.
what do you think as when we hear all of these studies around cognitive debt and the detriment of staying in conversations too long in Claude or ChatGPT, not leveraging it the right way, what is the message you want people to hear to say, AI is not the enemy, it's how it's being used. And
100%.
let's have that conversation because a lot of people are
Yeah.
worried about brain health with this.
Well, I think we come this spiritual practice of
Mhm.
what are you doing this all for?
Yes. Yes.
Let's step back for a second.
Hmm.
What do you want to be spending? Let's look back in the last 6 months, it's 12 months. When was it where you were most alive?
Hmm.
When were you belly laughing until you couldn't even stand it? When were you having such deep conversations? When were you doing an activity and you were so in flow state that there was no perception of anything outside of being in the moment?
Right.
We have to bring ourselves back to
Hmm.
what our why is. What are we doing this all for? Especially in our culture and Western
Yeah.
culture in the US.
Hmm.
We are so brainwashed to believe that our life revolves around our work. And don't get me wrong, I effing love what I do. I love it so
Yeah.
much. It is so much fun. Yesterday, I figured out how to get all 25,000 of my Instagram followers out of Instagram, brought it into Claude Code, enriched it with who's liked all my posts, who's commented, who's DM'd me. I scored all the leads 0 to 100. I went out and I enriched all the data. Now I have custom messages for each person based on their website. Like, what are you are you kidding
What?
me? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? What? I mean, I was in, and then Nicole came over and was like, "Hi, remember me? Would you like to hang out today?" So easy to get
Yeah.
wrapped up in this thing because it's so exciting and there's so many dopamine hits.
Hmm.
What it comes back to is discipline.
Yeah.
The
Hmm.
biggest mistake I see people make is getting into AI and not setting a timer
Yeah.
and not having a plan.
Yeah.
And when you get into that, oh, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to go over there. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I have those moments where I'm just like playing around and feeling out these, trying different things. But this comes back to what am I doing right now and
Mhm.
being in your body and not getting lost in it. Because what I find for some of my clients is they get so much of their time back, but they just put their time towards more AI stuff because they're addicted
Yes.
to
Right.
building and creating and productivity. So this
Hmm.
is where your spiritual practice has never been more important. What is
Hmm.
our why here? How much am I working today? Nicole calls me out every time, and I really, really don't work past 4 o'clock very often, unless it's launch week or, something's happening. But that's my cutoff time. And I do not let my employees work at night. If I see Slack messages going at night,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Why are you working at night? You obviously mismanaged your time during the day if you're working at night. So
Mhm.
this is back to just having this life's purpose, your life's
Mhm.
plan, the people that you love the most, the things you love doing, being so connected to your body and your soul and catching yourself
Mhm.
when you get caught in this dopamine cycle of building and creating because that's fun,
Yeah.
but that is not really when we're the most alive.
That's amazing because I think that people, some individuals that I've spoken to, even just, reaching out for the boot camp and doing warm calls for the program, and they're just hesitant of like, well, A, I'm not maybe like I'm not tech focused. I don't have any tech skills, but
Mhm.
also the piece of I want to stay connected to my own thinking, which when you're
Mm,
connected to your own spirituality and your purpose, though, then you
can't lose
are
it.
connected. You can't lose it.
Well,
You
and you
can't
and I
lose it.
both know when
Yeah.
you're in AI, I've never been more connected to my brain and my thoughts and my frameworks.
Yes. Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
how I'm speaking today, like all of this, the way that I think about how did I create an AI forward company came
Right.
from me brain dumping into Claude and having Claude interview me and me going deeper
Yes.
and it pointing me out. Hey, did you recognize you just said this? Like that's a pattern there. Did you see that? And I was
Mhm.
like, oh my God, I never saw that. I
Mhm.
keep saying this over and over again. Look at all my client wins and how do you think we got here? And it's the reverse engineering. It's like, well, most of these
Yes.
people are founders and it all started with the founder. And it's like,
Yes.
this is going a level deeper into our thinking than we could ever
Yeah,
even imagine
it
possible.
is.
And again, it's back to, look, AI is can be used for bad. Like
Right.
100%, just like the internet, just like anything else.
Mm.
It can totally be overused. It
Mhm.
can be used to outsource intuition. And that
Mhm.
is something that, the other night, Nicole and I were in a little tiff, and my brain was like, oh, go into Claude and talk about it. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm just going to feel into
Mm.
where do I think I messed up in this? What do I even think Claude would say here? Like, what do I think my
Yeah.
highest self would say here? And that was a moment I caught myself of like, I don't need to outsource my power here to AI. I can do this.
Yes.
This is a challenge for me. So this is back to discipline and back to having control over your own mind. This is
Mm-hmm.
not AI's problem.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
Yes,
human problem. We're given this very, very powerful tool, but that doesn't mean I'm using it at every jump.
absolutely. You know, what you're describing is really establishing and maintaining with conviction your own standards
Yes.
and not letting something waver you at all and make you wobbly around what is true and
Gotcha.
unique for you. People talk about boundaries with AI, but I always like to say boundaries are external. Let's talk
Yeah,
about your standards and your internal standards
I love
for
it.
how you use the technology or anything that you need to have, conviction around is, I think, super powerful. And what I have seen in a few other conversations is this lack of training around how to use AI that way, though.
Mm,
And really, really intelligent people demonstrating how to use AI for, like, let's say, marketing or a sales conversation. And I want to jump in and say, no, 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 give it a roll first. Give it a roll first. Like, you're not going to send your sales conversation to a generalist for medical practice, right? Like, what? And so it is, I think that's what I would love to, even that foundational,
yeah,
fundamental skill
yeah.
is really, people don't even know about that.
They don't.
And
Well,
that,
let's talk about it.
yeah, let's talk about that.
So let's go to the absolute fundamentals, basics of things we need to know to be working in AI. Number one, I really am not a ChatGPT fan.
Yes. No.
I love
Claude.
Claude. Now, we do have some custom GPTs. If you don't know what that means, that's totally fine. It's just a little trained version of ChatGPT because you can share those outside your organization. So we do give some of those to our clients and they work great. But our, I think, cumulatively favorite tool is Claude.
Mhm.
It's CLAUDE.ai. And if you're going to start playing in an AI tool, play in Claude. The last 3 months, I'd say the last 3 months, Claude has changed the game for us more in the last 3 months than the last 2 years.
Yeah. It's been
Things different.
amazing.
So let's talk about some of the fundamentals. So when we come into Claude, let's just say we open up a new chat, it's just like ChatGPT. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they're using it like a Google search. And so for a Google search, what you're doing, let's just say you're looking for the best steak restaurant in Manhattan. What do you type in? Best steak
Steak
restaurant,
restaurant in
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
The way that AI is trained is that AI, it's called a large language model. That's what Claude is. It's a large language model is where it's been trained on this whole host of data. It's not the entire internet because they take kind of the top Reddit threads, the top Wikipedia threads, the top
Mhm.
data aggregation sources, maybe top 20% of the internet, and they find patterns. So if you search that in AI wants to make you happy. And so it will go and find a piece of information and bring it back to you as soon as possible. So what we have to do is we have to break that cycle. We
Mhm.
have to give AI permission to ask us questions because the truth is that there is no possible way it would bring back the perfect restaurant without knowing a lot more information about what we are actually doing.
Mhm.
So the way that I would do that is let's just say we're giving it a role. Maybe I'd give it one of my favorite chefs. And
Yeah.
some people are like, "Oh, you don't have to do that." You don't necessarily have to, but what it's doing is it's grounding your brain in what you're actually looking for.
Yeah.
And so I say this to my clients a lot. I say, my Jennifer's a part of probably like 150 people in there. I would say 95% of those people have done some really deep work on themselves. Like they've done some emotional work, they've done some nervous system work. And one of the things that people that have done work on themselves do is something called metacognition. And
Mhm.
they think about their thinking.
Mhm.
And it's something that is learned over time. But when you do that with AI, you get a dramatically better result.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm doing this search. I would step back before I say anything or type anything, but I'm mostly saying we're a lot less typing around here
Yeah.
than we used to
Whisper
do.
flow.
Whisper flow, baby. I would think to myself, what am I actually looking for? So let's say,
Mhm.
people are really appreciate, like I love Bobby Flay. If I could call anyone in the world to talk about, let's say I have a birthday coming up. We're in New York City. I'm with 5 girlfriends and I'm like, I'm looking for the best steak restaurant. I would love to talk to Bobby. If he
Mhm.
knew like a little secret hole in the wall steak place, like I know he loves grilling, I know he loves meats, that would be so cool. So AI, you are Bobby Flay. Context. I'm doing a birthday party. It's me, it's 5 other women. We're all in our mid-30s. We love biodynamic organic wine. I'm open to the vibes. I don't really like really loud places. I'd love it to be a little bit quieter. We're staying in Brooklyn, so somewhere within 10 minutes of there. That's context. And then the request is I'm looking for the best steak restaurant. And honestly, I say steak restaurant, but to be honest, I'm really open to anything. I just love steak, and that's one of my favorite things. Please ask any clarifying questions before you respond to me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to like write in role? No, you don't. And you have to do it in that specific order? No. But at some point in that first go is like, this is what's happening with me. This is who I kind of want you to act as. This is what I'm looking for. And I'm not even sure exactly what I'm looking for. Ask me some questions and let's do this together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is going to create such a better interaction with AI because you're giving it permission to pause and ask for more questions. So maybe it comes back with a question of like, would you be willing to drive 20 minutes? I know you said 10, but would you be willing to drive 20? Because
Yeah.
there's a really special spot that Bobby loves. It's 20 minutes away.
Yes.
Sure. I would love, again, that's fine if it's
Yeah.
really cool and special. Are you going to a show after? What are you doing? Do you think those results are going to be better than Best Steak Restaurant Manhattan?
Yes.
Because now we're getting direct to you. So now let's do a business example. Let's do a marketing example. Let's say that, Dr. Jennifer, you do podcasts all day long, right? And maybe you're trying to build a deeper Instagram presence and you want to post a carousel this week. Let's say that you want to take a transcript of this podcast and turn it into a carousel. You don't know exactly how you would do that. You really don't, but you're like, this is what I need to do. So you'd go in and you would think to yourself, well, who would you call if you could call anyone in the world? I don't know, maybe like Cody Sanchez or
Yes.
Alex
Cody Sanchez.
Hormozi or,
Yeah.
someone that does
Kinsey.
this all the time.
Kinsey.
Kinsey, our COO, absolute badass. Kinsey runs the business. She runs everything. She's amazing. So you are insert person. I wish I could call Cody Sanchez or Alex, or you could, sometimes I say both. Sometimes you are Cody Sanchez and Alex Hormozi and maybe a few other people that specialize in taking long form content and turning it into short form content. Here's a situation. I need to get a carousel out on Instagram and I really want it to be savable, shareable. I really would love for it to be a really value packed and get a bunch of likes on my profile. Here is a podcast transcript I did last week. I'd love for you to give me some ideas for carousels and think about what carousels are going viral right now in my niche. Please feel free to interview me with any questions so that you can make sure you have everything you need.
Yeah.
So much better response. Even just that, please ask me questions. Just that one thing is going to dramatically change the results you're getting.
I love both of those examples because what you've described is an increase of self-awareness. And self-awareness is one of the most common things that comes up in all of my coaching conversations and actually is a really hard thing to attain as a human being because so much is changing outside of us and inside of us. And so not only is critical thinking and metacognition really important, that builds your self-awareness. So what you've just described is actually a self-awareness building exercise that amplifies your critical thinking, amplifies whatever else it is on the outside of you that you want to get done. What I have noticed happen inside of me is that when I do it the right way, and I will be honest, I don't always do it the right way every time I sit down. And I am deeply human and flawed. I catch myself, and then when I notice that I actually take the time to think through it before I take on the tool, then it is so much better. But I also feel more crisp. I feel more sharp. I feel more clear of mind. And that is what the process you've described, that's what I learned from you in your programs to be able to build that muscle versus what I see a lot of folks that don't understand how to do what you just described. They are minimizing their neural pathways actually when they're offloading to AI. And that is something I want to help protect for not just women, but for all leaders, all humans.
This is so good, Dr. Jennifer, because let's actually go down two paths. Let's talk about a leader that's using AI in the wrong way and then using it in the right way. And this is a lot of what we train in our program. The leader who is aware and can clearly articulate her decision-making frameworks, her communication style, her current blind spots. So like I train AI on my blind spots. What are some of my blind spots? I avoid hard conversations. I sometimes get into solutioning when sometimes people just need me to listen.
Mm.
Guess who points these out to me? My partner, Nicole, everyone around me. I love it. Not in the moment sometimes, but later,
Yeah.
later, I love these blind spots. This is why I pay for coaching. This is
Yeah.
why I paid $150,000 to Alex Hormozy to look inside my business and coach the blank out of me. That's why they
Mhm.
pay for people like you to come in. You got to tell me. So then what happens when you come into AI? Let's say I came into like a fresh Claude. They didn't really know anything about me. I hadn't
Yeah.
trained my leadership coach. It doesn't know any of my employees. And I'm like, I'm struggling with this employee. What should I say?
Right.
We're missing. It doesn't know anything about me, how I
Right.
communicate, how I make decisions, what I believe about the world, what I don't believe, what my standards are, what my goals are, what my values are. If you don't know those things, you cannot build a plan around what to do, how to communicate, how to move forward,
Right.
any of it. So I have a AI leadership coach, which yours is probably on steroids than mine, but it has the way that I think the past, I don't know, every time I make a huge business decision, I put it in there
Yeah.
because I talk through, I will just whisper flow in there and be like, today I made a decision about not updating our website until the fall. Why did I do that? Because of
Mhm.
this, and this. This is one thing I believe. So I believe that sometimes we move way too fast, and I only will do these huge projects when I can see the needle moving, and this is how I'm thinking. So now, when I go into my AI, it knows how I've made my last 15 decisions. It knows my communication style. It knows my blind spots, both leadership wise, emotionally, in my relationships. It knows my traumas
Mm.
because I've done that work. I've done
Mhm.
the pain tree. I know every single trauma that has happened to me in my entire life and
Mhm.
what kind of scar it's left and what kind of scar tissue I'm still working out so
Yeah.
that when I navigate into a situation, it's like, hey, remember what happened to you at 6 years old? That's playing
Mhm.
into this right now. That's your
Yeah.
abandonment wounds being triggered. I just
Woo!
wanted to call it out for you because you
Yeah.
probably can't see it because you're wrapped up emotionally. Okay. Now we're getting to
Yes.
actually working through these things that is going to unlock my ability to lead a $100 million company. And
Mhm.
every time I am doing this, I'm inching closer to becoming more
Mhm.
like her because
Oh,
AI understands what I need to do to get there.
that's beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much for diving deeper into that framework and taking it to the next level. Love the way you just light up when you talk about these frameworks
I love
and
it so much because it's
and
like
I
AI is demanding better thinking. It is not replacing your thinking. It's
exactly.
demanding you to level up. And the people
Yes.
that aren't leveling up are the ones that are using it and they're like, my brain's getting mushy. That's your decision.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad we went down that path because that will be so helpful to people who hear this interview. Because I really want more women, especially, to be using AI. We're still not taking it on as a tool or adopting it as much as men. I mean, we're 25, 23% behind them.
Two things I want to do before this podcast is over. Number one, I
Yeah.
want to talk a little bit tactically about what does it mean to actually train
Yes.
AI.
Yes.
Before we go there, there's a stat. This is probably 6 months ago. So obviously things change, but 65% of women 6 months ago were hiding their AI usage
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
workplace.
Mm.
And I think if we think about the female nature, there, especially in our Western culture, there's so much pressure to do it ourselves. And,
Hmm.
I think about a lot of my mom friends that I know. It's like, it's on me to feed the baby, to take care of the house, to clean, to do obviously there's very supportive partners out there. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that. I think it's honestly more of what women put on themselves
Yes.
than even
I
sometimes
agree.
their partner.
Agreed.
I need to be this mom and I need to be with my baby 24/7. If we think about how families were raised, hundreds of years ago, it was in tribe and we had sisters and aunts and grandmas and, sister had a baby 6 months ago. So she was breastfeeding and one day and then mom got a break and it was like everybody together now. And it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
this pressure is bleeding into how we work.
Hmm.
And it's just, again, this awareness and just being aware of it and training your AI on like, you know what? I have a tendency to just do it myself. And I want you to call me out on
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
So, how do we actually do that? How do we start to train AI to really start to understand more about how we think, how we communicate, what our blind spots are? The easiest way is to start adding some of these things to the memory.
Yeah.
of AI. So when you start, especially people that have been using ChatGPT for a long time, they're like, "Oh my God, ChatGPT, I can't move to Claude. ChatGPT knows me." Well, there's a whole process. You can go to my Instagram to export your memory out of ChatGPT. We can move it over to Claude. The only tough part about that is there's a maximum amount of memory that we
Mhm.
can put in there. So at some point, it's going to max out when you start to get too much and you're explaining everything and the whole story. So in Claude, if you go over on your left-hand side, you have to get the $20 a month version.
Yeah.
Look, just get, we can't even go on a date night for like less than $100 a month. So get a freaking $20 a month thing. If I was doing it, I'd get the $100 a month minimum. I'd just get Claude Max. If you're in a scaling business, if you are doing anything entrepreneurial, just get the $100 a month plan.
Yeah,
Don't,
it's worth it.
yeah,
Mhm.
like don't even ask any questions. On the left-hand side, there's a section called projects. And this is the beginning part of training AI. So if you hit new project, it's going to say start from scratch, import, or use an existing folder. Just start from scratch and just name it. Let's just start with leadership coach. I'm just doing it
Mhm.
here on my computer.
Yeah.
There's a section called instructions and there's a section called files.
Mm.
And so in the instructions, you can set this as you are a world-class leadership coach for Callan Faulkner. You follow the principles of Layla Hormozy, Dr. Jennifer Churchill, John Wooden. Great. You can put some more, this is things you learn in the program, of course, but you
Mhm.
can drop more specific instructions in there. In the files section, this is where things get really exciting. This is where you can load in a knowledge base. So you
Mhm.
can load in, and this is part of what we do in the program was we build out a brand voice, a voice guide. So like,
Mhm.
what is Callan Faulkner's voice? Well, she is a warm friend sitting across from you at a coffee shop, not telling you what to do, but telling you how she did it to inspire you to take action.
Mm.
She never feels like she's above you. She's always right with you. She is warm. She is kind, but she is also has beliefs that are strong. And so you may feel like there's some strength there, but it always comes from a warm, kind place. Like these are
Yeah.
written out sentences. I have a voice guide for myself that took me 10 hours to build. It's 20,000 characters and it is my isms, it's like my beliefs, it's how I talk, and it's just reverse engineered from my best writing.
Mhm.
What else can we put in there? We can put in my personality test. We can put in my pain tree, my trauma tree. We can put in my family history, my decision making, and these all can go in the knowledge base.
Mhm.
Now we've got this place that starts to know us and it
Mhm.
starts to become more like this coach we've worked with for 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's why working with someone like Dr. Jennifer, if she comes in and she starts coaching you, we can start bringing those transcripts
Mhm.
into the brain. Now we're taking it to another level
Yeah.
because Dr. Jennifer has how many years of experience doing this?
20 years.
20 years, baby. She's seen a thing or two. And
Yeah.
this is what I'm really passionate about is getting expert frameworks
Yeah.
put into your tools.
Mhm.
I'll tell you a quick story about my dad. His name is Matt. He's 66 years old and he has done the same job his entire life. He is a manufacturer's rep for Target and he helps people that sell kitchen tools and gadgets get their product into Target. He's worked with Target for 40 years.
Wow.
That's why I live in Minnesota because they
Yep.
moved here because Target's based here in Minneapolis. And for 40 years, he's done the same thing. He's gone into the Target portal. This used to be manual. They used to fax the data of all the
Yeah.
products that are selling and all the inventory. And he would go into Excel and run his pivot tables and run his numbers and figure out, okay, what should I tell Target? Should we raise prices? Should we lower prices? Should we do a special? Blah, 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 blah. There's 2,000 Target stores. I showed him how to take his 40 years of experience putting these reports together and I showed him how to build a Claude skill, which we don't have time to talk about on this call. But he built multiple Claude skills that take raw data from Target's portal and turn them into these gorgeous, beautiful dashboards that used to take him 10 hours a week to build,
Wow.
30 seconds. Why is this so powerful? Because it's not like he went into Claude and was like, hey, take this data and make a great report. No, he knew exactly what numbers are
Mhm.
working. He knows exactly what Target wants to see. He knows exactly what KPIs he's making decisions on. And he trained the blank out of Claude to
Mhm.
do exactly what he needed it to do. And it took him about 15 hours to train. And now
Mhm.
30 seconds, raw data, boom, raw data, boom. And that is the magic. When you can take your genius and get it in here, that
Mhm.
is when your job starts to become more into that influence and
Yeah.
imagination, because we don't have to spend mental bandwidth doing the pattern recognition that most people are doing every single week, building a proposal, building out an Instagram caption, putting up together a job description. That is not critical
Mhm.
thinking. That is
No.
pattern recognition.
Yeah.
And I like to say that because I think people, again, they're like, my genius is going to disappear. I'm like, no, your genius is actually what
Mhm.
is the magic as a part of
Yes.
this.
Absolutely. Amen. I think I would love to land on one final note here that I think is really important for society and just for the human race in general, that I believe is underrepresented in the AI conversation. The way that you're coaching and teaching in your programs is actually capturing the way that we build AI, like you just described, requires much more time than people understand. But what it does is it frees up that influence and that space that allows you to go out into the world then and be with people. And we
Yes.
are the loneliest we have ever been
Yes.
as a society and a culture. And I've been doing a lot of research on awe and like talking about that the science of awe with my clients recently
Mhm.
and the magic of it. And it's just going back to like what we were like as kids almost, and that flow state that the
Yeah.
first time we get bullied, it goes away, it gets bullied out of us, unfortunately. And that happens at like 5 years old. And then all of a sudden we're
Fascinating.
like, well, there's something on the outside of us. Right.
Mhm.
And so loneliness has creeped in as it's a mental health issue. And I really, when I talk about AI awe with my clients, they go together. They're not separate. And I want people to feel less lonely in the world, because leaders actually are one of the loneliest populations out there. Strivers usually are the most lonely of populations because we're hardest on ourselves. And
Mhm.
so that is like, I would love for you to say, like, what would you want my audience to hear from you on that theme as it relates to what we need to do for humankind in the context of AI?
Just a casual question. Yeah, just how do we
With 0 minutes left, no problem. We'll do.
No, I love these types of questions. Are you kidding me? Um, I'm just thinking about my own life and
Uh,
some of the best moments, and I have these huge goals, but simultaneously my favorite moments have been the simplest
yeah.
moments, walking with Nicole at sunset, Costa Rica. I recently spent 3 days with 5 women who are cumulatively, we're all doing 50 million in revenue in our different businesses. We had so much fun just talking about our businesses and our people and our scaling and our ideas, and why am I able to do these things? Why am I able to have all my girls over for dinner and the table is set and the music is playing and I ended work at 3:30 to get everything ready? Busyness creates loneliness.
Oh,
And that is the problem. The busy work, the manual stuff, the admin. Oh, just hang on, let me flip my thing open on a Sunday afternoon and get that Excel. No, that is what's creating your loneliness. What's not creating your loneliness, I believe, of course, AI can be a part of your busy work. Most people are using AI to just do more busy work. They are not stepping back and training it to do the work for you. That is the difference. You can
yeah.
go in ChatGPT all day long and be like, build this thing for me. You're using it like a gumball machine. Build me a
Mhm.
proposal. Oh, amazing proposal. Send it out. You go back into ChatGPT the next time, build me a proposal, and then you do another 30 minutes of chatting. The harder work is stepping back and saying, how could I train it to just build the proposal the way I want it, 90% of the way there every single, or 100% of the way there every single time?
Mhm.
That's just with anything, stepping back and building a process
Yeah.
to you know what that is? It's taking care of your future self.
Yes.
And that's what
Mhm.
most people are not doing. I have spent the last year taking care of my future self, and she is here and she's so effing proud of that girl 12 months ago that stepped back and looked at every single thing that I was doing. I either handed it off to a person or I built a system to hand it off to, so that now I only work 25 hours a week, and the rest of them, when I'm saying working, I'm doing this,
Yeah.
or I'm in a meeting, and the rest of the 15 hours, what am I doing? I'm in my masterminds. I'm talking with friends. I'm walking and talking with one of my friends who built a $10 million company in 3 years, and she's got all these ideas. Like, I feel so fulfilled. in
Mhm.
my job. But also, I cold DM'd these women. I reached out to these women and said, "Would you ever want to do a mastermind? I don't know. Here's what I have to bring to the table." I created the room. I booked the
Mhm.
house. Like we
Mm.
did, of course. I think being lonely, and I obviously there's so much mental health stuff that
Yeah.
is a whole other element here. But for a lot of women, it is a choice,
Mhm.
and you
Mhm.
are a few messages away
Mhm.
from a few messages and a few AI employees away
Yes.
from a whole new world
Yeah.
of connection.
I love that. Oh, wow. You got me there with busyness creates loneliness. That is the message. That is so powerful. Thank you so much
Oh my gosh, I
with
loved it.
for your
Thank
time
you, Dr.
today,
Jennifer.
and
Oh my
I
gosh,
cannot
so
wait to
good.
send people into your program and people
Yeah.
who more people need to learn about AI through you, and it's just brilliant what you've created. I'm just so
Oh my
proud.
gosh,
Not. I hope this doesn't sound weird because I know I'm a little older than you, but like I honestly am so proud of you with
so
what
much.
you've created and built, and you just create so much magic for other people's lives as well. So I
Yeah,
honor your presence so much.
it means the world coming from you. It's
Yeah.
been such a joy. And for those of you that are listening,
Yeah.
we're doing an AI boot camp.
Yes.
It kicks off April 21st, and it's go even if you barely can use your iPhone, or if you're living in Claude code, which you don't even have to know what that is, this is for you.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm not doing PowerPoint slides. I am sharing my screen and I am showing you the AI systems and the AI employees that we've set up in our finance department, in our operations department, in our marketing department, in our sales department. If you're not in a business, I mean, even if you're just, even we have so many W-2 employees that come through.
Yeah.
We actually had one woman, I don't know if you saw Susan's win in Uncommon Leaders, but she was about to get laid off in her job. And
I
she
saw
took a
that.
chance with her own personal money on. So just so you guys know, we have a boot camp and then we have a bigger 12-week AI course, which starts in May. And she just paid her own individual money to go through that course. The business didn't pay for it. And now she's the director of AI
I
at
saw.
her
I know.
company.
That's
Not
amazing.
didn't get laid off, got promoted, making more money. And her last, she sent me an individual message. Actually, this might have been in the post. Her last thing was like, "I have to say, I'm effing killing it."
Yeah.
I was like, "Let's go, Susan." That
Absolutely.
is what lights me, that just
Mhm.
keeps me so alive in
Yes.
this. I'm like,
Yeah.
women have no idea what they're capable of in every
Yeah.
single way. And I
Mhm.
think we are, I would say probably say 70% women as a
We
part of
are.
this
Yeah.
program. It
Yeah.
is unbelievable the women that are coming together
Yeah.
inside of this container. So
Mhm.
I'm so proud of that. And I'm so
Yeah.
proud of the ladies in our group. They are rock stars.
They
Like
are.
almost
Yeah.
every time I'm like, boys, I love you so much. But girls, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I mean, because the community, like you said, I mean, thank you for mentioning the boot camp and your next program kicking off in May, because it's the community also that actually is
Yeah.
really powerful,
Yeah.
that supports your growth, and you'll learn everything you need to about AI strategically and become an architect. But it's the community that you've built there, Callan, is so special.
Thank you,
And your
Dr.
whole
Jennifer.
team, obviously, is just, they're all rock stars and leaders in their
Thank you.
unique own way. So I will, all of the information is in my show notes for Callan's program. So please check it out.
At least
And
come to the boot camp. It's like
definitely come to,
$47.
oh yeah, the
Just
boot camp for
look.
sure. That's the
Actually,
first
probably
step.
97 now. They may have missed early bird, but even 97. Again, can you
Yeah.
go on a family of four dinner for $97? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe at Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
but maybe,
Maybe.
which you should not be going to. We know
No.
it. The grilled chicken is probably fine, but no, I am like, we've made it. My mentor was like, "Why is this $97?" I'm like, "Because people don't. They in the beginning, I'm like, I just need you to trust it
Yeah.
and worth. I mean, the
Yeah.
boot camp. I had a
Yeah.
woman go through the boot camp, and she got a $50,000 raise just from her
I
$197
remember that.
investment because of her AI prowess after the boot
Yeah.
camp. So
Yeah.
I do not hold back at the boot camp. Like I go all in and you're going to
Yeah.
see it come to life. I just call it the AI magic show because it's
Oh,
really just me doing AI magic.
yeah, it's really powerful. I watch every single one, even though I've been through all of your other programs. It's like, no, because it's amazing how much you grow too, watching you, and then
And
all
most
the,
people, I'll end it with this. AI takes about, I'd say the skill set that we're honing is about 60 hours of
hmm, yeah,
investment.
right.
It's like learning a language. The truth is that most people will never do it. They're not going to do it until they like lose their job or their business is like completely failing. It's like the guys that just won't get rid of their fax machine until like the people stop doing business with them because they're like, I actually won't do this. Like I'm pretty
Yeah.
close to firing my lawn guy because he wants me to send him physical checks. I'm like, no, no. The actual work that I have to do to get you that effing check every month, no, put me on auto pay. But I've never had this amount of urgency around learning it now because
Yeah.
this is the window to make it an unfair advantage because you know where we are. Like
Yep.
I was telling my team the other day, I'm like, we have been doing this for 3 years. We are so ahead of our competition, even our other AI coaching competition. Like we are
Right.
so far ahead of them in
Mhm.
all the things that we're doing because we're not using it as a gumball machine.
Yeah.
We're actually doing
Yep.
it. So I'm just really imploring you, women, even if you don't feel technical, come
Mhm.
and commit yourself to this because you will be so, so grateful
Yeah.
that you did and you're taking care of your future self by doing it.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for your presence and your leadership in this space, Callan, and just for being just an awesome human.
Jennifer,
And
I'm so, so proud of you too. This has been I love your podcast. I'm a super fan. So is Carter. We talk about it all the
yeah,
time. And it is so needed. Have you told him, like, how long have you been doing AI for? Was it,
just a year, 1 year,
okay, there
one
you
year,
go.
1 year.
Yeah, like, you
Yeah.
guys, it
I
does
mean,
not,
strategically, I was playing around with it. I call it
yeah.
gumball machine for about 6 months before that, but I don't call that using it. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
now it's like a whole new world, but it's
Yeah.
1 year. I mean,
1 year.
we're not talking like 5 years of learning this,
Right.
language, and no. I
Right.
mean, this is 1 year of you putting how many hours a week do you think you have
At
spent? Like,
first at first it was probably 10 to 15, and now I would say it's 3 to 5.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Mhm.
fun. Like, you're not
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I gotta go learn AI."
No.
In
No.
fact, it's probably the first thing that you're doing, and you're like, "I actually gotta go, like, do my
Well,
stuff."
and that's what I tell my coach friends, my peers, that it has made me a better coach.
Yeah.
It has made me a better coach because every single one of my clients wants to talk about AI or is talking about it or is wondering about it. And I'm able to talk to them about it because I know the power of it and how to think about it strategically.
Yeah.
And that is, if you're a coach in this space to learn how to use AI, even if you don't optimize everything in your business, it will make you a better coach because you can talk about it. And
Oh,
that is
100%.
that has been life-changing for me. So,
So
yeah.
good.
So thank you so much, Callan. I appreciate you so much, and I will
Thank
see
you.
you in the boot camp and in
Can't
Uncommon
wait.
Leaders.
See you
All
soon.
right, thank you. Bye bye.